Alright, so today we are going to be doing this exercise, 1.11 bracket. We have to be a little creative about the way that we approach this one because it only gives us dimensions to the center points. It doesn't give us dimensions for this line, or these horizontal lines. So what I'm going to do is orient this object so that this lies on the y-axis and that these two circles lie on the x-axis. Before I get drawing, I want to understand the object, so I'm looking here. Alright, here it says 3 times 1 inch diameter. Great. So now I know what the diameter of these circles are. This point is telling me, okay, a radius of 1. So that means the diameter has to be 2. So it's twice as large as these circles. Okay, makes sense. Okay, there's a radius here and a radius here. We're going to get to that. But to get started, I'm going to create a new drawing, and I'm going to make sure that it is the imperial units that we are using. Now, to begin, I'm going to get that circle tool out, and I'm going to use the coordinates of that top circle. So here it's telling me that it is 5.5 inches off this. It's 5.5 inches above the center of these. So when I go to draw, I'm going to specify the center point as being 0, because it doesn't change the x direction, comma 5.5. Press enter. And that looks wrong. Why? Well, if I zoom in, I put my mouse right on origin, and I zoom in, oh, this is looking more like my object. Okay, that's much better. Now, let's pull this up. Here, I've got my center point. The diameter is 1 inch. So my prompt says specify radius. Radius is half a diameter. So my radius will be 0.5 inches if it'll only let me type. But so is life. I'm going to select this window. There we go, 0.5. Enter. Great. I now have this top circle. Now I'm going to introduce these circles. And to do that, I get my circle tool out. Boom. Center point is 7.5, comma 0. Great. Same radius, 0.5. And we got one more to go. Center point is 7.5 plus 2.5. That's 10, comma 0. Radius is the same. We're well on our way. At this point, we have to decide, do I want to make these... Let's see, I can't make these lines yet because I don't have this arc. So to do the arc, you could use the arc tool. Now, personally, I think it's a lot easier to just make a circle and trim it later. So I'm going to use the circle tool. Center point, I can just hover over and click the center of this, and I know from the diagram that the radius is 1 inch. Great. Alright, so now I'm going to try and use a modify tool. Let's see, match prop, extend, explode, erase, trim, copy. Here we go. So copy, I can select an object, enter, specify base point. Now I'm going to grab the center of the circle. That will allow me to, basically grabbed what I selected from that point. I chose the center because now I can just copy this circle onto the other circles. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to apply a horizontal line, and I have to make sure my snaps are engaged. It takes a minute because you have to do them individually, or you can go to settings and you can click them in here. I click all of them. I love my snaps. So I'm going to use that line tool, snap, and I'm going to make sure it is horizontal, perfectly 180 degrees. Let's use that copy tool one more time, just because I like it. Select the object. This is a good time to show you how to select. If I click and drag to the right, I have a blue box. When I release, nothing happens. Now, if I go like this, it'll only select the center circle. Now, if I click and drag to the left, it's a green box. Now, here it's the same exact area that I'm dragging over, but it selects everything here. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the left drag, the green, will select anything touching the green box. The blue will only select things fully encompassed by the box. So if I were to do this, it's only going to select the center one. Whereas if I do this, it's going to select any lines that are touching that box. Alright, so now let's go to copy, select objects. I'm going to select that line. I press enter. My base point's going to be here. And now I'm going to copy that line right there. Boom. Beautiful. Let's do the same at the top. Draw my line. I'm going to extend it down. Now here, it's not giving me a straight line, so what I'm going to do is press tab and type in 90 degrees. And it won't work, apparently. So here I'm going to, let's see, 90, go back to this. Now I can click, and we're good, I think. Yeah, we're good. So for your next line, you can either use the copy and paste, or you can select the point tangent to it, draw a 90-degree line, and you'll see why I'm overlapping like this. Now, another useful tool that I should cover is the trim tool. If you click it, it'll allow you to trim different parts of your drawing. When you click and drag, it's going to make a line. Anything the line touches is going to be deleted. You don't want to do that. So I undo, and I'm going to trim again just to show you. Doop, doop, clean it up. All right, now I'm going to show you a beautiful tool called Fillet. It's not fillet like a fillet of fish. It's fillet. Now what this allows you to do is make two lines it connects two lines. So I'll show you two different uses of this. The first one, when I click fillet, it says select first object. Alright, I'm going to select this line. Select second object. I select this line. It now links these two lines at a 90-degree angle and eliminates the overlap. That's all well and good, but for this drawing, I need a radius in here. What's beautiful about the fillet tool is that it'll allow you to, it'll allow you to create radii that connect two points. And it does it in a much cleaner way than trying to guess and check with the radius of a circle. I mean, you could make a circle. I'm going to show you the clunky way first. If I were to, from this point, make a 3-inch circle, I could then select this circle, and I could choose a point that runs tangent to both these lines. Then I could trim everything. That's no fun. Fillet is fun. So I click fillet. I'm going to click radius now. And I input a radius of 3 inches. Now I'm going to select my first line. And now I'm going to select my second line. And it magically does it for me. Let's try that one more time. Let's do it with this one. Here the radius is 5, as shown by that arrow. I'm going to now click fillet, radius, 5, enter, select first, select second, click, and we got it. Now I'm going to get that trim tool out, and I'm going to trim this up to get rid of that extra. Beautiful. We are looking good. But we're not quite there because we need to do our dimensions. To do this, once again, I go to my layers. Alright, let's make a layer. Center lines. I'm going to make sure that I have center lines selected, and I want to change that color so I can see it. I'm also going to make a layer called dimensions. Here, I'm going to change that to yellow so I can see it. I'm going to make sure that the line type chosen here is continuous. Oh, my center lines should be centers. My object lines, layer 0, should be continuous. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to my center line properties. So I go to the Properties tab. I'm going to change this scale to match the radius of the circles I'm trying to do. So here, the radius is 0.5. That's going to be my line type scale. And I should be ready to dimension, or not dimension, draw my center lines on my circles. That's no good. Why is my line type scale 1? I want to be 0.5. 0.5 is the scale. Here, you get that. It's still no good. Why is it no good? My line type should be set to by layer. What that means, it's going to use a line type designated in my layer. Why it doesn't default to that, I couldn't tell you. So now that I've edited that, let's give it a shot. Put my line, and look at that. We have a beautiful set of center lines. Boom. Perfect center lines. Now, I could continue drawing those lines, or we try to work smarter, not harder. I'm going to copy these two lines, enter, select the center, copy it there, copy it there. Once I have all my copying, I press escape. We're done with that. Now, because I'm terrified, I'm going to go check dimensions. Okay, it's yellow, continuous line type, properties, my dimensions. Let's see, by layer for line type scale, I have it at 0.5. Let's see how we do with this. We get our dimensions out. I'm going to choose the center point of this line. I'm going to hover here, not click, hover, and move it up until I have a horizontal line. I click when it's at 7.5, and now I drop my line. Let's see. So dimension style, I think 2 is going to serve us better. This looks a little large for my liking. Let's try this out. So here I'm going to do 1, 2. I'm going to shift it up. I like the size of this. And now to keep these extension lines from drawing over my object, I'm going to use the Move tool to select this, enter, base point, I'm going to make, hey, there we go, the end of that arrow tip, and I'm going to now drop it right to the other arrow tip. That way we have extension lines, but they aren't drawn all over our object. That's loads better. I'm going to continue this process now. You can watch along with me or skip ahead. Annotate, I get my dimension tool, and here I'm going to just zoom in, and am I doing dimension? Yeah. Here, yeah, I wait till it gives me a preview, and now I'm going to drop that there. That looks good. And let's see, I'm going to add some text, see how this works out. I'm going to say 3 times 3x. Great. Now I'm going to move this so that it looks nice. Enter. I'm going to pick, let's see. Yeah, okay. Pick that as a base point, and I'm just going to drop this right next to. It's not great. That's fine. Whatever. All right. Annotate, dimension tool. Same deal here. I'm going to just hover over the center. No click. Hover, slide it over, drop it straight down. And now I can input my dimension there. Last thing I'm going to need is a radius. To finish this up, I want to point out that you can change your dimension sizes simply by selecting them, going to the Properties tab, and changing the dimension style to match your other dimensions. Decimal point 2 is what we used. And that just about does it. Good job. Get it submitted.